something that we've all been waiting for, dual motors. You can never get enough of this beautiful white interior. And look at that, look at it go over that speed bump. And I am in the sport mode, and watch this now, hitting on the accelerator. Welcome to Cars in Korea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And the car I am test driving today is 2026 Genesis Electrified GV70 facelift. I did go over the exterior, interior, and walk around video of this car for detailed, in-depth review of the exterior, interior, features, everything that you need to know about this electrified GV70 in that video. But today's focus is the test drive itself. And I'm on this wide, beautiful highway here in Korea. Beautiful sun out. What a lovely day to test drive such vehicle. And right off the bat, one thing that I feel to myself immediately as soon as I hopped in, I am actually long-term test driving the all-new Hyundai Palisade, and that car has some great NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, meaning it does a fabulous job of canceling and reducing the noise coming into the cabin. And I have been test driving that car for several hundred kilometers now, but all that coziness and comfy ride I had in Palisade, I'm sorry, it's immediately gone. I mean, first, it's Genesis, and second, the car being electrified GV70, it's full electric, although it's not fully made out of EV dedicated platform. So it still uses the good old ICE chassis that GV70 used. But that is what's really surprising me the most, to be honest. The platform is like the body, the bones. So imagine the work Genesis must have gone through in order to fit all that PE, power electric unit, motor, batteries, you name it. And again, it's not the first time Genesis or Hyundai Motor Group doing it, so they've done an amazing job. And honestly speaking, there immediately is another car I can think of, that is G80 electrified. And that car also recently got the facelift, and that car was the best car ever when it comes to the ride, the drive, the sensation I get inside the car, inside out even, because it is completely different to that of the ICE cars, G80, because I've test driven numerous G80s, 2.5 turbo, 3.5 turbo, you name it. But together with that long wheelbase that G80 electrified facelift got, it just had that pleasant, beautiful, amazing ride. But this car is the SUV version of that, essentially, because I mean there are only 3 EVs in Genesis brand up until today: electrified GV70, electrified G80, and the GV60, the smallest EV SUV, as we all know. So long explanation as always, but there definitely is something penetrating design language and the sensation I get throughout not only the Genesis brand, but the electrified versions of Genesis cars. It is completely different from the ICE cars that somewhat looks similar on the outside, but the drive-wise experience you get inside the vehicle completely different. And BVM, blind spot view monitor, comes in super handy. It's always been there with Genesis cars. And as you can see, thanks to this outrageous motor power the car has got, which takes the car from 0 to 60 just at 4.4 seconds with this boost mode. So you see, the car being an EV, there is that instant torque and response from the car, but it's not insanely immediate. And for a fact, Genesis could have done so if they wanted to. But again, what is this car? Genesis, it's about that elegance and luxury. It's elegant luxury, Genesis calls it. So instead of car just shooting out immediately at a tap of the accelerator, there is a good of a buffer, I would say. So when I floor it, watch. So the car waits and gives me about 0.5 seconds of buffer. There are 215 horsepower motor, one on the right, one on the front, and one on the rear, put together producing 430 horsepower altogether. So look at the tachometer, slam it again. Let's go, slam it again. There is good buffer between the response time of me hitting the accelerator and the car picking up the speed. And again, it's very pleasant, nothing I would complain about, and I think it fits Genesis just beautifully. But if you don't like that and you want to get all that instant torque that EVs have got to offer, well, simply put the car into sport mode. And I am in the sport mode, and watch this now, hitting on the accelerator. Yep. Watch this. It just picks up the speed like that. So if you want the response, the car's always got you covered in sport mode. And I apologize for my voice. I've been shooting like nonstop for the past 5 days, lost my voice. So I want to quickly show it to you here. Toggle through using this lever, and you can go into sport mode, my drive, eco, and comfort, and press it down, push, like the button says, push it down for the auto terrain mode, snow, mud, and sand. And as you saw, the alarm came up saying that I should grab onto the steering wheel. Before the facelift, it was torque feedback basis, meaning the steering wheel actually needed to have the torque input in order for the car to know that you are keeping your hands on the steering wheel. So even if you are actually holding onto the steering wheel, sometimes the message would pop up saying that you should do so. It's a little annoying, especially when you go on a long distance drives, but the alarm came up, as you can see, right? So you see the alarm right here, and wait for it. All I need to do when the chime starts ringing, which it does right now, and all I need to do is grab anywhere with 2 or more fingers within the steering wheel, it goes away. Meaning, as long as you are really holding onto the steering wheel, that alarm will never ever pop up. And again, if you have driven your car on a long distance drive, you guys know what that is. And also another handy feature on a long distance drives, the automatic lane change for you. So it activates on freeway, highway, and once conditions are met, simply press down on the direction you want to make the lane change to. The car's got you covered. As soon as you see the graphic with the green lights on the HUD, the car will make necessary changes. Speaking of which, we see the clear, crisp HUD up on the front, together with undisturbed, continued 26-inch OLED monitors that has been watered down ever since G90 came out, and all of the latest facelifted Genesis cars have been getting this. Well, that's also including the G80 on the left. I've been saving on this button intentionally. There is the boost mode on this car that will unleash its full potential for 10 seconds during the boost mode is activated. Simply press on this button, the car will go into the mode immediately, and when you do so, the graphics will change. And let's go. Yep. And when boost is activated, the car will give you that 460 horsepower. And the response is even more immediate. I can feel all the torque being distributed both front and rear. And I have the power distribution mode on, so you can check it out on the graphics. Let's hit the boost mode again. Yep, so the car is mostly the rear wheel basis, so the car will send its full torque on the rear wheels first. But when you fully accelerate, when you just floor the car, 4 wheels are almost working all together instantly. But there is more emphasis on the rear, just like all performance all-wheel drive cars are. There is also augmented reality monitor on the front, fancy tech of Genesis cars that we've been seeing and getting. And just check out how the car performs on this tight corners. The car comes with HDA2, latest Highway Driving Assist 2, which is the latest ADAS that Genesis brand has got to offer. And this HDA works the best with EV cars due to the nature being. The response is immediate, the car reacts right away. You just saw how the car actually clears the whole corner on its own. Piece of cake, to be honest, right? Again, let's make the lane change automatically. It detected already, I see it on HUD. The car's got my back. And the good thing with the AR navigation is that it shows me where and how the car is currently understanding its surroundings. So it is very obvious that the car currently has detected electrified GV70 in front of us, as well as showing that we should take the highway exit right here so we don't miss a thing. I'm gonna let electrified GV70 do its work. Just look at this car maneuver through the highway exit. Let me just touch on it so the alarm goes away. Look at this. it is the most severe, harsh exit corner you can see. So the drive, the coziness, it's very quiet inside, no doubt. And you can see it all here. The car comes with DCM digital center mirror, which allows you to have wider digitalized rear view using that monitor. Not the first time we got this tech, but if it's your first time seeing it, hearing about it, something that you definitely want to check out and include, because it's not just rear mirror gone digital, but it provides wider view and also better visibility during the poor condition, especially on snowy, winter, rainy days. And also, you don't need to worry about your compartment, your trunk compartment getting loaded up and physically obstructing your view, because the camera is attached on the back of the car, so it will never be physically blocked. And that's also including when you have your family, friends sitting on the second row seat. You don't have to have that eye contact no more. All right, so we are done with the freeway, back on the city roads and uneven roads, as you can see, but the essence, the beauty of all Genesis cars, which is the Preview ECS, Preview Electronically Controlled Suspension. So the suspension actually works. And look at that, look at it go over that speed bump. Again, I've been driving Palisade, right? All new Palisade, and that car also has the Preview ECS, but I'm sorry, but it's different, completely different. And that certainly has to do with much shorter wheelbase that this GV70 Electrified has over Palisade. So I want to say that Palisade also does an amazing job, but the way this car goes over the speed bump, it is insane. It goes over the speed bump very gentle, yet I still have control over the vehicle. So the car is not losing any balance. So it will be very pleasant, not just for you, but passengers on the second row seat too, because you're not so much sitting on top of the rear wheel, unlike a few other cars, especially the cars with the third row seats, right? That's another plus. And the car being heavier compared to ICE cars, due to the nature being having the heavier battery packs underneath, the center of gravity is much lower than any ICE cars, which I absolutely love. Because if the car is heavy and not responsive, sluggish, then it is very stressful to operate the vehicle. But this GV70 Electrified is not such thing, as we've been seeing. Responds immediately, power is there, and goes over the bump smoothly, and once again, thanks to that Preview ECS. Speaking of which, I would also like to point out that there is the Hydra bushing applied on the rear of the car as well, come this facelifted model. It was only applied on the front for the pre-facelift, but now it's been added all together, and Hydra bushing is the latest bushing that Hyundai Motor Group has got to offer. Has the chemical, which is composed of liquid and rubber bushing together. Simply put, upgraded, better, more expensive bushing, if you will. So I am at the destination. Let me show you the exterior and interior, and also that color under the broad sunlight in real world. So this artificial nose is the only thing that I am hearing when the car is just slowing down like this. So let me show you the interior real quick. You can never get enough of this beautiful white interior, bright interior Genesis has got to offer. They've always been doing a fabulous job. And we saw all this during the tunnel run, but there was the beautiful ambient lighting here. So unlike the pre-facelift model, there is ambient light everywhere. So the ambient light was gently hugging around the entire interior of the car, second row included. So the drop-down glove box that we know of. So the wireless charging pad here, together with the UVC sterilization system, which can be distinguished by, you see those dots right there. So those are the sterilizations, and the 12-volt outlet system here. You can easily see if UVC is on. 2 USB-C type charging ports here, and one on the left saying USB. It's for your cabled connection. Very nice touch. I absolutely love this. We all know what this is for. That is for you to have the wire coming out after you have connected it to the C types, so it doesn't squeeze the cable that way. Very nice touch. So the gear shifter here, it's actually also been changed. It has better ambient lighting, as we saw during the tunnel run, and this has been implemented on all of the latest facelift cars. Fingerprint recognition system, auto hold PNRD, rotated to whichever direction you want to go. Just like so, simple as that, very intuitive. And this is to keep the car in neutral after you have parked. It is Korea exclusive, it's Korea thing. Because there are a lot of shortage of parking here in city of Seoul and Korea. Back home menu and the rotary for the infotainment system exclusively, and it is something that I always have been loving because it's always really nice to have this physical control over your infotainment system when you can, instead of everything being fully digitalized. And I know manufacturers know that too, because Volkswagen recently has announced such thing about the removing all the physical buttons. They admitted that it was their mistake, so very nice call with Genesis with this. So the buttons that we saw earlier with the drive, terrain, push it in order to toggle through different modes, and all self-explanatory buttons and features. It is the AC vents, so everything here is just fully dedicated for HVAC only, and I actually do get that mild, gentle haptic feedback after I press on each button, which I think is very well suited for this Genesis car. So you have all that for each and all of the buttons here, and of course ventilated seats and heated seats for all the first row seats. And rest of the design, just like the one we saw with the pre-facelift cars, it has somewhat oval shape. It's not sphere-like with Genesis GV60 has, but more like an oval or ellipse, I would say. Same thing with the door panel, as well as the door catch right there with the handle, and even that memory seat. So you have two memory seats on the passenger seat even, and nice flag type glass right there. Extra visibility out the window is only going to help and aid you with the safety. Less blind spot there is, better it is for you and for everybody on the road together with pedestrians. This plays a big role when you pull the car in and out of your driveway. If you guys have been there, you guys know. I can't even imagine how many accidents that this alone would have saved. Augmented reality once again. Beautiful GV70 electrified in front of us. So let's take a look at the exterior of GV70 electrified. I got some beautiful colors. Genesis has been recently coming up with a beautiful silver color and gray, and I will include the precise name on the screen right now. I just can't recall the name off of my head immediately. And as well as there are other green colors together with the Makalu gray, I believe. And also the car I drove is number one right here, and this is the Cerise Blue Matte color, I believe. And more cars are rolling in. And that Mauna red, the only red color there is with Genesis cars. So look at these cars, just absolutely beautiful. So double line identity, penetrating design language of Genesis brands and cars, together with the MLA micro lens array. So this is the easiest way for you to differentiate what the difference is with the facelift and to that of the pre-facelift. It is the MLA, the micro lens array. Each cubes right here work independently, and that provides the amazing light visibility out during the nighttime, supported with IFS intelligent front light system, of course. Come this facelift, the front look is slightly different, like I have said, so you might think it is quite similar to the pre-facelift. However, they have refined the bumper towards the bottom, and together with the fully motorized charging ports on the front. And you can also easily undo the charging cover just like so. How brilliant is that? So only the top when you need the slow charging, and open it up together for the fast charging. Very easy, direct and intuitive, and nice LED lighting for the nighttime charging, together with extra lighting showing the battery status. So it is actually less than 80% because the last one is not lit up. And the reason for the charging ports being on the front is also because this car is not EGMP, Electric Global Modular Platform. And you see when closed, it sits really flush. It's really hard to differentiate where the parting line is. Another thing, same thing as we've seen from the electrified G80 facelift, there is the double line identity up here as well. So it's not necessarily always a bad thing, if you will, when you have the charger on the front, because I have viewers, people telling me how convenient it is when you garage park your car, and it's no brainer, right? And this design always has been a thing with the GV70. It's sticking a little further out. It has been uniquely GV70. We only see that on GV70 thus far. Speaking of which, let's also pop the frunk see if there is any meaningful storage in front of the vehicle, but it's not going to be by much, to be honest, because the car is what? Dual motors. So it has another motor PE system on the front, but there is a cover and a frunk. And yep, not all that big, but there is one relatively deep one right here. And I think that will be a good fit for your charging cable. And I put a lot of car wash related items here, just like so. When closed, it's very flush and sleek, living up to the title name, Genesis. And the braces we've seen throughout all Genesis brands and cars. We saw that ever since the ICE cars as well. Didn't really bother pointing out, but of course it's gas lift with Genesis part written on it. So no skewer type, luxury Genesis car indeed. Sound absorbers on the top as well to better the NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness I've been telling you about. I can't really pick on anything when it comes to this GV70 electrified. And this right here is the largest wheel you can get, which is 265/45/20 square size, meaning same size all around the car, together with Michelin Primacy Tour A/S 265/45/20. This by far is my favorite wheel when it comes to the EV electrified cars of Genesis. And I like this wheel a lot because it has the good old 5-spoke pattern, but there is that double line identity, the Genesis identity at the same time. Yet it's also a turbine wheel, so it is covered up quite a lot in order to lessen the drag and better the driving range of the EVs. That is the trait that we find a lot on the EVs, because that alone contributes greatly to the driving range. And the car being an EV, it doesn't dissipate all that too much of a heat because it uses less of the rotors and the brake pads, therefore less heat, i.e. the wheel can be covered up to better the driving range. So zooming in, we see the white calipers. There are a variety of caliper covers when it comes to Genesis. There is the copper, there is the silver, there is also black with the Black Series, and there is this white for electrified cars, and also red for sports versions. So double line identity, nothing different from the pre-facelift model, but there is something significantly different on this model. That is the rear turn signals has now been relocated from the bottom to the top. So it started with the facelift GV70 ICE model, and the GV70 electrified also got it. Speaking of which, it leaves me a little puzzled with the GV60 facelift, because GV60 still has the turn signal at the bottom, but once again GV70 electrified facelift got the blinkers right on top. I will show you momentarily. Those of you with keen eyes, you guys probably already have noticed there is that double line identity at the bottom near the diffuser as well. Speaking of which, there's no crazy rear diffuser. It is just a good old rear bumper that we are used to seeing. And the same thing with the rear wiper. Would have been really nice if they actually hit it underneath the third brake light or the spoiler, but it is what it is. I mean, the pros about that is that you can actually easily open up the trunk by pressing this button here, just like so. Right? So, but still would have been really amazing if they just kept it, hit it underneath, but we can all see that there is no space for such. So that must be the nozzle for the rear wiper fluid, and 2 cameras on the rear, one for the DCM I showed you, digital center mirror, as well as built-in cam 2.0, which is the onboard camera that records both front and rear together with the audio. This is the car key for Genesis GV70 electrified, the good old key fob that we've been seeing with all of the latest Genesis cars, to be honest. I wanted to show you the dynamic welcome light which this car has with the MLA. There are a few choices you can choose. It lights up beautifully, giving you that awesome welcome ceremony. Each of the cues come into a play. That's when we see the MLA in action. So let's turn that turn signals on. So it's the side repeaters and the double line identity. So one on the front, it's something that we're used to seeing, but wait for it, let me show you the rear. There we go, something that we've all been waiting for. The turn signals now have moved up from the bottom and still kept that double line identity, which I absolutely love. And just looking at the turn signal alone, people would be able to tell that there is a Genesis car in front of you. And the trunk, nothing out of the ordinary, but I definitely want to point out this V2L system inside that you can use both inside and out. So you can get the electricity inside from here, and you can get it from the outside using the adapter plugging into the charger port on the front. And speaking of which, there is no V2L on the second row seat, unlike the EGMP cars. Once again, that's because this is not an EGMP car, but rather it uses the ICE platform. And there is the charger port on the second row seat in the middle as well. Two C-type charger ports found right here, and the dedicated AC HVAC related buttons and features for the second row seat. And once again, because it's not EGMP, the AC vents are located right in the middle, unlike being located on the pillars right there. And beautiful interior colors, by the way. That quarter glass on the rear, although it's tiny, it does make quite a bit of difference of allowing the daylight to come into this car. So which Genesis also calls it to be the DLO, daylight opening. Literally speaking, it opens up the daylight to come inside the car, just like it is doing right now. It's a beautiful Napa leather seat. Once again, ultimate luxury that Genesis brand has got to offer. And the car we see here is fully loaded model with everything that you can possibly get. Speaking of which, there is no headrest cushion though. That's something that my wife Duma loves, and I absolutely love as well. It's really cozy. If you know, you know. If you have tried it out, I know you love it too. And pull this guy down for 2 cup holders. So nothing out of the ordinary, to be honest. And if you want to fold the seat, you have to do so using this lever. Certainly it would have been nice if there was something motorized to control the seats from the trunks, but it is the good old physical lever, just like this. So yank this latch in order to fold the seat just like so. And the screen luggage cover to protect your luggage inside your vehicle, just like so. Lift this up, you see some extra storage together with the fire extinguisher, which is mandatory here in Korea now. And that V2L adapter and tire mobility kit. It's fixer flat kit. This to have your luggage nets and 12-volt outlet system here too. All that is there probably for you to enjoy your chabak, which is staying inside your car and camping together with your car, putting together all the electronic devices here, such as electric pod, speaker, projectors, monitors, screens, TVs, you name it. I will tell you more about the car on my way back home, but I think this is where I say goodbye because I got all the colors of Genesis GV70 electrified, facelift. Don't forget to like and subscribe Cars in Korea if you did, and I'll see you in the next video. And I will also soon be long-term test driving this vehicle. I'll take this car to places, check out the real world battery efficiency, and things that I can find out after I have test driven the car for long distances. All right, that really is it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. So got back in this GV70 electrified facelift. I didn't really want to point this out, but I don't know how I would feel when I actually get back in the all-new Palisade now that I have driven this car for over an hour and got all used to this. So I want to show you the battery efficiency. Although it was very short time and short distance, also keep in mind that it was mostly on the freeway, right? And we know EVs do better on city drives, so let's go check it out. So I've driven for 41 kilometers for the past 1 hour and 15 minutes. It is rating 4.6 kilometers per kilowatt hour. It's not bad at all for me, DK driving. I never ever get the suggested fuel economy or driving range. I can definitely assure you that this number will go up if you drive this car. I will soon be back on the freeway again, so want to feel the city drives once again. You're also feeling all this, right? Serene, cozy drive. Oh my God. And when it comes to the NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, it's not just one single component or technology that is responsible for the whole thing. It is the suspension, the tires, ECS, or hydro bushing that I told you about, but I want to point this one out the most. That is the ANCR, which stands for Active Noise Cancellation Road. And what it does is it essentially works exactly the same as how any other noise canceling earbuds or headphones work. It shoots out the counter frequency. Although there actually is noise, human ears, we cannot perceive it, just like infrared and so forth. Speaking of which, there is the eye sensors in all of the latest Hyundai Motor Group cars to meet extra safety precautions that is applied on latest modern cars. Because the cars are getting more autonomous, there is less input from the drivers, so it is a way of ensuring that the driver is keeping the eye on the roads and safely operating the vehicle. Not just safety for you, the driver, but everybody on the road and pedestrians. Uneven, harsh roads as we've been seeing, and all this speed bump, we will soon say goodbye. And a bit of tight corners and turns, didn't reduce the speed as you saw, but just it hugs the corner beautifully. Such a cozy ride. And it detected the corners, so let the car do its cornering. You guys just saw that corner, right? Detect. All right, there we go. Let's try it again. Merging into the freeway. So look at this, just completing the corner, no issue. But it does ask me to hold on to the steering wheel more often when I'm actually on the corners like that one just we saw. There is what's called VGS, which stands for Virtual Gear Shift. And it does explain itself literally. You can set it in the settings in the menu. I put it in the shortcut here. So operate it with a push of a button and use the pedal shifters like you would with the ICE cars. And when you do, listen to this. So you can actually upshift and downshift as you would with ICE internal combustion engine cars, just like this. And it's not too loud, to be honest, in comfort mode, but when you go into sport mode, you see it's getting louder. Shift down. So you can do this. It is not just to mimic the ICE internal combustion engine cars, but this comes into a huge play when you actually put the car on spirited runs and also when you track your EV cars. This watered down from Ioniq 5N, as we all know, and big props to Ioniq 5N. It is now also found on the Genesis cars, and other manufacturers too are also admitting the fact that this is needed in EV cars. I'm not going to name the brand, but there are other brands out there also implementing this technology as well. Just like so. There are actually two separate modes for this sound. All right, so there we go. The volume was set at 50%. So this is the sound that we would expect. Just like this. And let me rev it off, kind of show you. So this is the Heritage Black, and it mimics the sound of the ICE cars, and you can activate Horizon when you're in eco mode. So let's go for the moment that we've all been waiting for, pulling 0 to 60, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Let's turn off the VDC completely for the maximum performance. It is said that the car will reach 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds, utilizing that full 490 horsepower from dual motors. So let's go. So 4.7 seconds, as you saw. I actually measured it wrong. I put the car into sport, completely turned off the VDC, and VGS off. I have to use the boost mode, right? So let's go. 1, 2, 3. And we all saw it, the car was there before I even noticed it. So this device is actually really accurate. It measures down to 1/100th of a second, as you can see. 0.2% of slope, so it was on pretty much a flat surface. I'm really glad that I tested it again. 4.17 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. So it's even faster than the proposed 4.4 seconds by Genesis. And it's always been that way. The 0 to 60 on Genesis cars, they have always been faster. So do keep in mind that it's not the summer sporty tire that this car has. So counting in all those factors in, is just insanely fast. And also you guys heard all the tire slip as well. I did that on purpose because I wanted to see how delicately the GV70 electrified controls each of the wheel. And you see, there was no issue whatsoever. It's got the performance, and imagine how fast this car will be with proper performance summer tires on. I mean, you could see 3-second figure, I bet. That is just nuts. So depending on how you operate this car, you've seen how fast this car can go and how gentle and cozy this car can be all at the same time. Surprising.